There is an ancient proverb.
The pupil is ready, the master will appear. It will take dedication, it will take time.
This is Desiree Duvernay welcoming you to Nelson Medicine. Well, here I am, 1965, graduating catechism. And I had studied the Bible in-depthly all my life and even went to the Concordia Seminary and became an expert in different comparative religions, even though working on the Apollo program, becoming a scientist. At Youngstown State University, I taught comparative religion, I taught mystic philosophy and many other things, even had a TV show that I was on. And I became a spiritual expert in world comparative religions. Now, today's lecture is not about religion. This is not about religion at all today. I'm going to talk about religion because you as a therapist need to understand the basic worldviews of your patients and their religious ideas. You need to know these things in order for you to be a real help to them. In order to help somebody, you need to know their basic worldview and the rules that construct their viewpoints of the world so that you can intervene and help them to realize and to grow. We will start by looking at the world religions of Abraham, which have come out of it, the Jewish ideas of the Ten Commandments, the ideas and the teachings of Jesus, of Christianity, and then the ideas of the Muslim, Islam. So let's start with the Ten Commandments.
From the burning bush, O Lord, you charged me to bring the people to this holy mountain, to behold your glory and receive your law. What have I left undone?
I took my movie crew to Mount Sinai, and it was very interesting what we were able to see and to experience some of the ideas of how the Ten Commandments started. It is said that the Jewish tribes were the first one to come up with the idea of one God, just to worship one God, that there was other religions where they had many gods. The first one with the one God principle was the Jewish. Now, as they started this, in the Bible they write that there was darkness and then at one point light. Now, scientists have now realized in the beginning of the universe that there was darkness and then at one time light. 15.5 or more billion years ago. And that light that started has left a cosmic microwave background radiation, CMBR, that has oscillated throughout the entire universe. And now what we know through quantum entwinement, that these entwined photons that started out entwined still remain in contact. They have informational contact. And they spread around the universe, bouncing around the cosmic microwave radiation. And every time they contact, there's a shared consciousness, a shared information of all these photons that get together. That is truly a God consciousness. So I think now we have a scientific proof. I've written and done movies about this to have more detail if you wish. But there is definitely proof of a God consciousness. With that in mind, that is what they are saying here in the first commandment.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
This cosmic force of God has extreme power. Now, to call upon God to hurt somebody else, like saying God damn anything, By saying that, you are now taking the name in vain, and you're trying to involve that power of God to hurt somebody. This is wrong. Be very careful on how you use the name of God, and do not use it in any negative force. Only try to be positive.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
And the Bible says that God rested on the seventh day, and humans too should also rest on the seventh day. Scientists have found that we need 2 or at least 1 day of rest every week, and why not use that to respect and worship and calm our minds and remind ourselves of the connecting force of God.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Honor thy mother and thy father. Now, it doesn't say obey them, it says honor and respect them. That's basically the meaning here. Now, how many times have we heard, the young man say, "Oh, my father got so much smarter when I turned 21." Because as we get older, we start to appreciate the wisdom of the elders. When we're young and rebellious, we don't appreciate their wisdom. We act impulsively. Now, honoring thy mother and thy father allows us to respect and sit back and think and respect their ideas so that we don't run off with impulsive things. And this is the one commandment that gives you a little cookie, a little extra, because it says that if you do honor thy mother and thy father, that your days will be long. It's going to give you a longer life.
Not kill.
Thou shalt not kill. It's a commandment and not just a guideline. But so many people just don't really think about that. So many people you talk to, they want somebody dead someplace, somewhere. Until they meet them, then they say, oh, well, it's a little different when they're face to face. But we have to recognize this is a very strong commandment. And the seeds of this is in hatred.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
In this video clip, the man is married, but with him is his mistress. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Exodus 20:14. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. Proverbs 6:32. Adultery may be hidden from men, but never from God.
In the early days, adultery was only a woman who was married cheating on her husband. Now, if the husband cheated with another married woman, that was adultery. But if the husband went off to find a prostitute or somebody else, that wasn't really thought of as adultery way back in the old days of the Old Testament. Now we have a much broader idea of it. We have a much broader idea that means anybody in a marriage relationship cheating is considered adultery. And we have to understand that adultery does not really apply so much to the single people, but yet respect for relationships, respect for the chemistry needs to be involved here. The Bible's not so specific about single people, but basically we do have to recognize, as Jesus will tell us, that what's in our mind, the lust, etc., can destroy us if we don't watch out.
Thou shalt not steal.
The origins of law in the Hammurabi Code and etc., all different places where law is, it's about defending possession. That people work hard to get their possessions, they should not be stolen. So we have to respect this. This becomes a very profound thing for all cultures and has to be worked into everybody's rules of life.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Yes, gossip and backstabbing of your neighbor can drag you under. And it's something that we need to really address, that we need to have a type of culture where we don't allow gossip to spread, that we don't allow people to talk behind backs. We try to be more honest and open. I've made a lot of videos about this to help you understand more.
Thou shalt not covet anything that is thy neighbor.
So far, up till now, with this Old Testament, 10 Commandments, they've been involved in actions: steal, kill. And this is the first commandment that now goes into a quality of mind: covet. It's not an action. This is a mental state where you desire to have something that is not yours. That's called coveting. And now we're starting to open the door for a more deep analysis into the mind. And now we're going to, many years, a couple of thousand years later, we're going to get to Jesus.
Written with the finger of God.
It is the basic belief of the Jews that God wrote these commandments and that God inspired the people who wrote the Old Testament. And he came in and allowed their words to go into their minds and come out on paper to make the Bible.
Go, get thee down, for thy people have corrupted themselves.
Oh, hear me! All pay heed! The Lord Jehovah, has given unto you these 10 commandments for all to obey.
Well, that's a little funny there for you. And in today's modern world, we think that sometimes these commandments don't really apply. But what I'm telling you is that for most of your clients, most of your so-called Christian clients, etc., these commandments are shaping thoughts behind them. They feel guilt because of these commandments. They feel driven to these commandments. They feel to share. They feel, and it echoes behind them, because all of them have learned this, but yet many of them have disobeyed, guilt, etc. So now we're dealing with the emotions. I'm not really talking about the religion here, but now you have to understand. Now in the Old Testament, there was concentration on action. Now Jesus in the New Testament, Christianity, is now going to add a new dimension, because Jesus is going to tell us that it's not just in the action. He has come to not change the law, but to fulfill the law, that the action of the problem is in the original state of mind of desire. You want something, covet, and then you steal, or you do adultery through lust. These things, he's going to tell us about the powers of the mind. Jesus is going to tell us that it's not the action of the sin, but the seed of the emotion inside, the coveting, the desire, those type of things, the lust, the anger, the hate, that those mental seeds are really the problem. Now, small minds have respected the name Jesus, whereas a larger mind recognizes the teachings of Jesus. And to really respect the teacher, we need to honor the teachings, not just the name of the teacher. So now let's review some of the teachings of Jesus.
One of the things what Jesus teaches us most is about love. Love God, love yourself, love your neighbor equally, love your enemies. Just love. Be love. Jesus also focuses on judgment. Do not judge others. Do not condemn others. Forgive and you will be forgiven. Give and you will be given in return. Care and share. Small minds allow judgment to be in control, and that kind of judgment will shield them from reality and shield them to see the true value and the blessing and the gift of people. Jesus said, I have not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. The seeds of sin are in the evil thoughts in the mind. Jesus said that the seeds of sin are all in the mind. The seed of murder is hate. The seed of adultery is lust. The seed of stealing is greed. We are known by the fruit of our actions. A good heart and mind makes good fruitful actions. If your heart and mind are evil, then work to make it good.
People have the idea that they can live a life of sin and on the last minute believe in Jesus and they'll go to heaven. Not true. Jesus says, you are known by the fruits of your actions, not by the fruits of your belief, by your actions.
Take action today. Make good. For only the righteous, good fruit and actions can get you into heaven. You are judged by your actions, not your words or beliefs. Make sure you make good decisions. Everything starts in the mind. Make your mind good and good actions will follow, and goodness is its own reward.
These are the teachings of Jesus. People don't really understand. And there's so many people that want to say the name Jesus, but really what we need to do is respect the teachings of Jesus. Learn about the teachings. That's the best way to respect the teacher. Next in the religions of Abraham comes Islam. This is written by Muhammad, 600 AD, and has a little bit different beliefs, all based on the same type of principles.
Main beliefs in Islam. Number 1, one God. Muslims believe in one God who is the creator and sustainer of everything. The Arabic word for God is Allah. Muslims believe that God is absolutely one with no son, partner, or equivalent.
As we said scientifically about the cosmic microwave background radiation, there probably is one God consciousness, one unified consciousness.
Number 2, all prophets and messengers. Muslims believe in all prophets such as Adam, Abraham, Noah, Moses, Jesus, and many others. The last of these messengers was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and God revealed the Quran to him. Throughout history, these prophets all delivered the same message to their people. Worship one God and do not associate any partners with him.
Prophets, messengers, teachers, all the wise people need to be respected.
That's the basic principle of Islam.
Number 3, all revealed scripture. Muslims believe that over the centuries, God revealed his word to various prophets. The Book of Abraham, the Torah of Moses, the Psalms of David, and the Gospel of Jesus were all divinely inspired texts. Over time, these books have been changed and are no longer in their original state. Only the final revelation, the Quran, which was received by Prophet Muhammad, remains uncorrupted and whole in its original form.
The belief is that God inspired Muhammad to write the divine book of the Quran.
This is basically the idea that this is the best of all the books.
Number 4, angels. Muslims also believe in angels, obedient creatures of Allah who perform tasks at his command.
The word angel comes from the ancient times and the meaning of it is messenger. Muslims believe that there are angelic creatures, messengers, who are here to help us, protect us, guide us.
Give us advice. Give us protection. They believe in angels.
Number 5, the hereafter. Islam teaches of an afterlife where everyone will be held accountable for their actions. God's mercy and generosity will grant eternal paradise to the righteous and repentant, but his perfect justice will also condemn and punish remorseless wrongdoers.
According to the Islam, you are judged by your action, not by your beliefs.
You can't live a life of sin and expect to not have to pay for it. Just like a court of law where you're judged by your deeds, your actions, and not by your thoughts. This is the idea behind the final judgment in Islam.
Number 6, God's decree. While Muslims believe in free will that allows people to make choices, they also believe in God's decree. Some things like when and where we were born and when and where we will die have been predetermined by God and cannot be changed.
Quote from the Islamic poet says, "The moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on, nor all piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears was out a word of it."
So they believe in an awful lot of predetermination. There are 5 pillars of Islam about how to pray, when to pray, which direction to face. These are all very important things, all about living the life. Also, Muhammad said that you should drink alcohol, very important. So now what we've done is we've been able to go through all the major religions that come from Abraham, so that you start to get an idea. Even though they basically believe the same thing, there are many differences. This is why it's called comparative religion.
I think, the big question is, why do you believe certain things? Why do you believe in Allah versus Jesus? Or why do you believe in alternative medicine versus conventional medicine? And a lot of it has to do with what you're exposed to, as well as a number of biases that we as humans have that sort of colors the information we receive from the world. A large portion of it's geography, right? So if you're born in Oklahoma, you're much more likely to become a Christian than you are a Hindu, simply because everyone else around you is a Christian. But in terms of the specifics of our beliefs, they're very, very highly driven by, what we're imprinted with early. So, those people that are around us, as well as the fact that we naturally, as humans, seem to have these pieces built into our brain that want us to believe things that are not necessarily backed up by the evidence. There's been some very, very interesting research over about the last 15 years or so that has cleverly shown that children, I'm talking here under 2 years old, seem to be naturally wired to believe in things that are not necessarily actually there. And that certainly helps contribute to our belief in supernatural things later in life. I think one of the things that you have to do if you're trying to help other people see that maybe what it is that they are thinking is not necessarily accurate is you don't go up to them and say, "Hey, you're wrong." That's a completely wrong thing to do, and we actually know that from research, is it's called psychological reactance. And I'll just say, "Hey, screw you, I'm double right now." So instead what you have to do is you have to help them understand, why is it that I believe these things and why is it that you believe what you believe? I'm a huge fan of the scientific method. I think one of the best things that our culture has produced over the last 400 years is the scientific method. And the reason is because what the scientific method does is it takes all of these biases, all these heuristics that we're naturally prone to, and it helps to eliminate them. It helps to control for all the things that we as humans naturally do so that we don't fool ourselves. And that's the key to any sort of real understanding of things, is not just, oh, well, here's my evidence for it. It's, well, here's my unbiased evidence for it. For me personally, it's about seeing the world as it is, not as I want it to be. And I think the world would be a much better place if all of us were trained in how to think critically, in how to think rationally, in how to logically examine questions, and not just find what I want to believe, which is what we do naturally, but find what actually is, or what actually isn't, so that you do so in an unbiased way.